Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Paper Happinessity with Monica. My name is Monica Formosa and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the Wide Bay region of Queensland, Australia. It's about 4 hours north of Brisbane. So yeah, in a nice little quietish corner of the state. But anyway, it's nice where I am, and we have family close by, so it's perfect for us. Colour Inspiration Challenge 184 has just kicked off. This runs from Wednesday the 26th of March to Monday the 7th of April, and we have quite a bright color palette, which I'll be honest, I actually struggled with, and 5 colors to boot. So, you know, in some ways it does give you lots more options, depending on what your style is. So I had to get my thinking cap on because I don't normally use such bright colors. I normally have something that's a little bit lighter in tones amongst it all. But anyway, I did have a couple of tries and I'm happy with my result. So I've decided to grab out the Country Flowers bundle because it has this image with lots of different bits and pieces to it, and decided that I would go down that path. And it's also a Z fold. Okay, so we've used the Country Flowers dies and the stamp set. I've used this image here, as well as this pail bucket, and then the dies, the coordinating dies to cut those two out. I've also used the Everyday Arches dies. This is an online exclusive. And of course, I'm not sure whether the camera will pick this up, but I've got this lovely soft, or subtle, more likely, subtle background. This is just a regular embossing folder, which I'm quite enjoying at the moment because sometimes the 3D ones can be quite bold. And they do add a lot of thickness to your cards. So if you're mailing them, sometimes you can get into a little bit of trouble with postage. But this is the new Damask Designs embossing folder. And what happens with this, let me see. It actually opens from the side. So depending on which way you want your pattern to go, it is a large 6x6. Is that the size, 6x6? Yes, it is a large 6x6, which gives you plenty of options. So you can go this way, you can go this way. For landscape, you could go in a pinch, you could go diagonal if you had a smaller piece of cardstock and just wanted to frame it. So yeah, a nice little pretty, very formal design for a new embossing folder. And that will be coming out, I believe it's the 6th of May, also as an online exclusive. Okay, so this is our card. I'll just move that away. This is all our bits and pieces that we need, and I will just put that here. Please feel free to take a screenshot if that's what you'd like to do. I'll move it in a moment because I'm going to need a little bit of space. All right, so card base is thick white. I've gone measured at 8 inches. 8 inches by 5.5. I've gone a little bit smaller because I'm not as wide as what I would normally do it. And I went to 8 because it's easier to divide in half and then in half again. So you score it at 2 and at 4, and then this piece here folds back for our Z. I apologize to my American friends. Okay, so there's our Z fold. Okay, you'll also need a scrap that measures roughly 4 inches by 5.5 for the two arches, and I got the 2 out of the one piece. If you've got other smaller scraps, you could probably get, you know, just get 1 out of each piece of scrap, but you'll need 2 arches. You'll need 2 pieces of the embossed cardstock. This is also basic white, and I've cut mine a little bit larger than what I need, so I'll actually trim those down to what I need. So you'll need one full piece in on the back panel, and then 1 piece cut in half for the folded panel. Okay, and then I have got, you'll also need a couple of pieces of scraps for again basic white for your stamping, and that has been stamped in basic grey. So we will be doing a little bit of colouring. All right. I haven't put a sentiment on here, and I also haven't put embellishments on there. I just find that with all the embossed background, I kind of didn't really need to do much, but it's entirely up to you. Like, there's all these little raised dots here. You could probably go around and add a little bit of INKstella to each of those, just for a little bit of shimmer. You could add a little bit of INKstella to the flowers maybe. But anyway, I'm going to set these over here to the side. We will need to do a little bit of colouring, and I'm going to get my silicone mat out. Now normally I would stamp these and then colour later, but just to give me a little bit of, well, to cut down on a little bit of time, I thought I would just go ahead and die cut these. Stampin' Blends, I've used basic grey, no, what is this? Sorry, not basic grey, light smoky slate. That's for the pale and for my background. I have the, what do we call this? The colour lifter. And that just blurs the harsh lines of my blending there. We have Poppy Parade, Dark and Light. Daffodil Delight, Dark and Light. Azure Afternoon, Dark and Light. Mossy Meadow, Dark and Light. And I've also got the blender pen because we don't have Garden Green in a Stampin' Blend. So I have used the Garden Green watercolor pencil, which is part of the second pack of watercolor pencils that Stampin' Up have. If you don't have the watercolor pencils, you could use your Garden Green ink pad also with the blender pen. Okay, all right. But for me, I preferred to use this. But if you don't have it, like I said, the other option is to use your stamp pad. Okay. All right, so to begin with, I might do the pale. And what I did is, using my bullet end, I just flicked, really carefully flicked, trying not to go outside the lines too much. That's where my color goes, so I'll leave that free. And you don't need to go up there too much. Just pull this out a little bit more so it's a little bit even. And then what I like to do is to soften those lines is just go back the opposite way with my colour lifter. Okay, so I'll let that settle. I will turn it around and I'll go around and do this side again with my smoky slate. I don't need to go up there too far because and I'll just and I like to then, no, I might do that last so it doesn't, I don't fade it out. We're going to turn it around and go the opposite with the colour lifter. Just a reminder that I stamped this in basic grey. And you can go backwards and forwards however much you like. And that just gives it a little bit of dimension. Now, I'm not sure whether you noticed on here, but for the handle, just to give it a little bit of, a little bit more 3D and dimension, I just went and I'm going to color this in here and then go really, really gently. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the shadow of the handle in underneath. And if it's a little bit too dark, you can go in and just gently lighten it. So we have this shadow on the pail. All right. Okay. Green, garden green. Same thing again, we're going to flick. Make sure that that's nice and dark on the outside and then blending to lighter in the middle, and that will give it a curve. Very lightly, because I actually want color all along. My pale in my mind is white, and then the grey or the smoky slate gives it a bit of shadow. But with this, I want this all green, so really heavy on the edges, and then blending it lightly towards the middle, and then you have this. It gives it a little bit more shape. Okay. All right, so there's our pail. While I've got garden green in my hand, I'm going to add a little bit of green into the bottoms of each of these. I'm not sure whether they're leaves or petals. And then I'm going to get my blender pen, just make sure there's no color on there. and then pull that colour out. And that also gives it a little bit of depth and dimension. Now, if that's not green enough, you can go back in and very, very lightly add a little bit more colour. There's no rule to say that you can only do it once. You know, if you're not happy, go back, add a bit more colour. Just be careful though, because I'm not using watercolour paper, and you really don't want to go too heavy, be too heavy-handed, especially with your blender pen, because it will create, I think it's starting to pill there. All right, now I thought I would do something a little bit different this time with my flowers. I kind of got this big blue one in the middle here with the red and the yellow. I thought I would do a yellow one in the center and swap the yellow with the blue. Still keep this guy down here red. All right, so let's do that one first. I'm using the bullet end on this. I'm going to do a dark, and then I'm going to just go around and then blend that out with my light. While I'm got this open, I'll just add a little bit of colour to the centre of that one. All right, and I might go back and see if I could make that one just a little bit darker. All right. Red, we'll go Poppy Parade, and I like to do my dark colour first. So I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness to the bottoms here. I just and then my light. You can, if you guys want to fast forward this bit, please feel free. Okay, our blue, dark. I'm not being too precious about all this. I'm actually liking this version a little bit more than my original, to tell you the truth. Green. Dark first. To the base or the bottom of the leaves. and then blend, oops, blend with the light. Oops. Okay, now to pull a bit of shadow in behind everything, I'm going to go in with the light smoky slate again. I've seen a lot of demonstrators use, a lot of demonstrators use Pool Party, and that's another option. There's really no right or wrong, just so that I'm just giving a little bit of colour. Oh, I missed a leaf there, guys. Are you all screaming at me? There's a leaf here, so dark. Yeah, so there's really no right or wrong, but I just like to put a little bit of shadow, because in real life there would be a shadow behind all this that's going on. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in with my color lifter and just blend it so there's no harsh edges. All right, so where's my camera? This way? Can you see that, guys? We have this. There is my original. And there's my alternative. All right, so now it's just a matter of putting it all together. Oh no, before I start, I need to trim this. Okay. It goes this way and this way. I actually might trim. So my measurement is 4 inches. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off. And it's 5.5. So once again, I'm going to go down 1/4 of an inch. All right. And that's from the top. So that's going to go in here. Let me also trim this down to 5 3/8. And just wondering whether I can get this to kind of match up, and it does. So let's go, that was 2 inches. So this fold is 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is trim that to 1 7/8. And that's for that one. And again, another 1 7/8. 1 7/8, not 7/8. that was close. Right, okay. Let's glue all this in. We're going to add this to the back side of the folded panel. Oh, I haven't cut that right. Oh, darn it. Lol. All right. Oh, okay. So let me grab a piece of white cardstock and let me do some embossing because I did not measure that right. So let's cut this to 6. My embossing folder. Where might you be? Underneath things. All right, let me just grab my machine. All right, so I'm going to line this up with the line that's here on the embossing folders. There's this line, which is a great addition because it just ensures that everything is all nice and straight. We need base plate, 1 clear plate, your embossing folder, and I just let that go, and make sure you've got the fold going into the machine the way you're rolling it. Oh goodness, I'm all fingers and thumbs now. Okay. Oh. Let's see if I can do this again. Trimmer. I'm going to cut I'm just going to take a little bit off the bottom here. And then this needs to be 5 3/8. Okay, let's go this way. One 7/8, but I want to go from this side first. So let's go upside down. 1 7/8. Yeah, that's better because I'm thinking I shouldn't have had all that left over. And 1 7/8. Okay. This would make a great card for someone special. Sometimes I get a little bit like about sending out fancy folds because some can be quite complicated. And then you end up confusing the poor recipient as to how it should be opened, how it should be displayed. But a Z fold is not too complicated, and it has this lovely kind of a wow thing happening. All right, now before I glue that on, what I want to do is grab some, I'm actually going to use, I've got a bit of scrap, my edges here, which is going to be perfect. So what I want to do is I'm going to just use this little piece here, but I want my bone folder, which was here a moment ago, and I'm just going to curve this just ever so slightly, and that will also give it a little bit of dimension. And now what I want to do is add this little strip to the middle, take off the back. Oh, come on. Let me just tidy up my desk here a bit, just to push everything to the side a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and you might think it's silly, but it also allows you a little bit of wiggle time, and a little bit of glue to the edges. So now what happens is that when you glue this on, make sure it's nice and straight, you can adhere the edges, and where the dimensionals are in underneath, that will remain raised up. Now we'll add, I've just got mini here, but you use whatever. I'm only using these because they were there beside me. Use whatever you have on hand. One in the middle, and can you hear the birds outside? We have a group of plovers that come and go, and at full moon time, during the full moon time, they make such a racket. All right, and then we're just going to put that on there like that. All right, so to put this on, what we're going to do is just add glue to this half. Now, if you wanted to, you can grab a couple of post-it notes, and then so I'm going to add a post-it note here and a post-it note on this side, flip it over, and I'm only going to add glue on this section. You don't want it all over the back of it because that's just going to stick everything down. You could also have added a little sentiment across the bottom and just lifted everything a little bit higher. I'm just going to hold that down because that all that texture in underneath. And then this is for to write our message. And I'm going to add a lot of glue because once again I've got that embossed background. And we're going to line this up. Line it up, and by having that wet glue, it just allows us a little bit of wriggle time to get it where we need it to be. I think that could just come down a smidge. and so that when you fold it, it folds directly behind the front one. Just be aware though that when you do go to write on this, it might be a little bit lumpy, but I think it's kind of cute. All right, and that's your card. Okay, let me just run through everything again. I've used Country Flowers dies and stamp set, the Everyday Archers dies, and I think, let me just check. I think it was about, was it the fourth one? No, fifth one. Fifth from the smallest. But there's nothing stopping you using a large one if it's going to suit your occasion. And then the new Damask Details, or Damask Designs, it is Damask Designs folder, embossing folder, which comes out in May. And that's the yellow flower. I kind of feel like though that I might just go in with green for the middle and ruin it all. Just needs a little bit of contrast. And that's how you do it. All right, there's the measurements that I used. And like I said, I didn't put any embellishments on there, and I haven't put a sentiment. And there are times when I actually don't. I will often there are times when I send out a card and not put a sentiment on there, or I'll add it in later. But that's it. Okay, guys. The big blue flower, the big yellow flower with the smaller blues. Both look cool. Both are pretty. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and bearing with me. There was a lot to do today with the colouring. Thank you to everyone who has joined me. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that all bell button, because that will help you find me later. To support my little paper craft business, a little comment down below would also be much appreciated. And it's just a way of, supporting me and helping me get out there on the YouTube algorithm. So, all right, that's it from me. Bye for now, and we will see you all next time. Bye.